Alright, what's up guys? How's it going? So, this video is going to be a little different. As you can see, I put just chatting on there just because my last video actually got copyright stricken, even though there was no audio. It was weird, it got fixed. They didn't like demonetize it or anything, but they did copyright strike it, so whatever. And that was just, I had a movie in the background, whatever. Doesn't matter. So, this video is going to be something that's been requested a lot, which is you guys asking how I got to where I am, how you can get into hacking, that type of thing. This video is going to be how I got to where I am, and then I'm going to do a separate video on more of a recommended path, okay? So the reason for that is because I want to show you guys that it doesn't matter where you start, really, just as long as you start, okay? So we're going to start with the very first time I ever hacked anything. And the very first time I ever hacked anything was, I think I was like 15. It wasn't even really hacking. I mean, I wouldn't call it hacking now. But basically, there are two things that happened. One, I basically played a computer game when I was 15. I'd go over to my dad's and I could play on the computer. Um, I did not have a computer at my mother's. Back then it wasn't that common that everybody had a computer like they do now. Okay, we didn't have cell phones and all that. So anyway, I was there and I was messing around on the internet and started looking into it because really it started with video games. I wanted to get better stuff in video games, so I thought, well, maybe I can hack into it. Then I realized like that's very difficult to change the modification of the files and things, especially on web-based video games, which is what it was back then. Um, and so I hacked accounts. Now, I know what you're thinking, that's pretty bad. It was. I was a young kid. I was dumb. Um, Took some people's accounts and just transferred some stuff, and it wasn't even hacking. It was trying to get to, them to give me some sort of like their pet's name or whatever. You know what I mean? That type of stuff. So that I'm not saying do that. That's not a good thing. I would never recommend someone do that. I'm just saying back then the internet was kind of different. It was a lot easier. People didn't have the knowledge they do now. And then I went to school when I was, let's say like 16. We had a typing class, I think it was, maybe 15. I don't know, but it was a typing class, and we were typing. Um, the school had a program called VNC on it, which is for remote access, and basically I found out that it didn't have an admin account password. So I logged in as an admin, and I could remote control every computer in the school. I did get in trouble for that one because I got caught, and I got in trouble. So those are the first two times. I definitely don't recommend those. Those are very very on the brink of illegal, I would say. Got in a lot of trouble. Then from there, I went off to high school and didn't think much of it. Like I said, cybersecurity is a newer thing. So for me at the time, it was just something I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting, kind of neat. Never looked into it, never studied it, nothing. Didn't think much of it. Would never have called myself a hacker. Even back then, if you asked me if I hacked into something, I'd like, no, I just logged into this. Like, no, didn't even. I thought hacking was a totally different thing. Um, so then from there, I went to school, went to college, was studying in business administration on a basketball scholarship. And during this time, I also worked summer job, and then I also worked at the school at night to pay for everything. So while I was doing this, because the school was paid for, but my housing and because I had an apartment and my food and all that stuff, I had to pay for all that, my car, my insurance, all that. So anyway, besides the point, get to college, tear my knee, lose my scholarship, and realize I don't care at all about business administration. I don't care about it. I don't like it. The only reason I'm going to school there is for basketball. Can't play basketball anymore. Don't want to do it. So, okay, whatever. So I leave. Well, now I'm looking at what do I want to do, right? This is a situation I feel like a lot of young kids get into. They go to school because they think they should, which is what I did. I didn't really want to. It was more or less I wanted to play basketball. So when I got there, didn't know what I want to do. I always wanted to join the military. I had been trying to join for probably a year and a half at this point. Even while I was attending school, I was trying to join the Marines. So no matter what, I wanted to join the military. I went to MEPS. If you guys know what MEPS is, I went to MEPS, went there over and over and over and got disqualified left and right. Now, most people get disqualified, so it's not that disconcerting. I kind of expected to get disqualified. When I got disqualified, didn't think much of it. I got disqualified 13 times though. So I went to MEPS 13 times. That's a lot. If you guys know, you have to go there overnight. It's a 2-day thing. It's a night thing. Wake up 4 a.m. You're doing it all day, whatever. I had to do it 13 times. It's a lot. It really sucked. Then finally get in to the Air Force. The Air Force finally took me. The Marines kind of gave up on me. Got a new recruiter with the Air Force. He took me, and I was a cable dog for them. If you guys don't know what a cable dog is, you can look it up. But basically, we are kind of like infrastructure. I joined an engineering and installation squadron. So what that means is we were kind of like that that in between combat comm and basically like a full base. Okay, so did some really cool stuff. Did combat deployment. Did got to go work on the nuclear and stratcom. Got to do, let's see what else. Got to go to a bunch of countries. Got to do a bunch of stuff. Okay, loved it. Loved it. Then got a job as a lineman on the outside. If you guys don't know what a lineman is, you can Google it. It's a pretty common job around here. That's what I wanted to do from after high school, because I did work as a groundsman, and what that is you work on the ground and help the people climbing the poles. So that's what I did. Then so as I got a job as a lineman, I thought I had made it. Initially I was climbing towers. Loved it, but the travel was a lot, so I got a job as a pole lineman. Loved it. Stayed there for 5 years. While I was there, I took a tour with Disa. If you guys know what Disa is, it's Defense Information Systems Agency. So this is where I start veering from I'm going to work as a lineman my whole life over here to going this way, which is I want to use my mind and not my body so much, okay? And what was happening realistically was when I was young, it was a lot of fun to work outside all the time, work with my hands. It was awesome. I loved it. And injuries and just continuation of beating myself up, killing my body, I started to realize this isn't going to be good when I'm 60, right? I'm going to be hurting. So when I was with Disa, I would go to these high, I don't know how you say it, but basically very established, high-ranking officials in these buildings, very headquarters type buildings with a lot of there was Secret Service around us. There was NSA type people around us. Some very, very big people, right? So it was me and another guy, and we would go there and we'd build infrastructure for them. And we made sure, number one, we always did the best we could. We always had our name out there as the best installers that were there, okay? And we did that on purpose because, number one, I wanted to make connections with these people. I didn't want it to never see this again. I thought, this is where I want to be. I want to be these people, okay? Because they're making a lot of money, they love what they do, and they're actually doing something, okay? So at this point, here's where it starts to get into my hacking. What happened was I started going up to these people, to Secret Service, to NSA folks, to all these people, and just going up to them and say, how did you get here? What did you do? Did you go to school? Do I need to go back to school? Did you get certifications? What do I need to do? And they kind of led me in a couple different directions. And one of the first things they told me to do is to basically get Disa, the company I worked for at the time, to pay for my CEH. And I said, okay, cool. Went and got Disa. They agreed to it. Finally get them to agree to my certification. Then I had to go do it, right? So now I'm studying my ass off. And I'm realizing, wow, I'm in way over my head. This is way beyond me. Okay? So at that time, I realized I've got to really buckle down. So I just start doing nothing but learning basic computing. I didn't know what DNS was. I didn't know what anything was, what a protocol was, how an IP address actually works. I didn't know any of this stuff besides, you know, what basic I've seen before. So at this point, I'm realizing I'm in over my head, and I'm saying, I don't care. I don't care. Put me in the highest level certification possible and let me fail because I'll learn something. So I fully went into the CEH, fully anticipate on failing. Realistically, I thought I'm in over my head. This is more than I know, and I thought I'd fail. Luckily, I didn't. I passed it. Very, very, very lucky because I was very happy. And when I did that, I realized right away this is what I want to do. Okay, this is the coolest job I've ever heard of. The coolest thing back before I didn't even know this was a real job. I didn't know you could do it, and I knew I wanted to do it. So okay, so fast forward, I'm still working for Disa. I have the CEH, and now I'm looking at getting more certs. I'm saying, teach me more. And the higher ups are looking at it and saying, okay, well, I don't mind teaching him, but it doesn't make sense. He's an infrastructure person. Why does he need to learn hacking? So I actually started looking at the military and saying, what jobs in the military provide this, where I can learn this skill set? And in the Air Force, it's 1 Bravos. So I went and applied for a 1 Bravo position. I got accepted, and I went and took what's called an EDPT test, which is Entry Data Processing Test. This is a test that basically just very simple, very easy, but it's how fast your mind processes data. So they might give you a 6 plus 4 is what, right? It's 10, obviously. But you only have, I think it's like 10 seconds per question to answer all these, and they're just nonstop. It's just a huge test. You basically don't finish it, but you get as many as you can. Passed it, get accepted to the 1 Bravo, and I said, okay, this is awesome. I'm going to go down there. This is down in St. Louis. I said, I'm going to go down there. I'm going to learn hacking. It's going to be freaking awesome. And then I interviewed for the position, or with the guy in charge, and I said, tell me a little bit more about it. And he basically told me it's only defensive hacking. I said, okay, that's unfortunate because that's not what I want to do, but maybe I'll learn something, right? Because you have to know defense to know offense. So I tentatively accepted. What I mean by that is I never signed yet, but I accepted it. I spoke with them. I was going to transfer. Okay. So at this point, I'm still studying nonstop. I'm coming home every day. This is where I think a lot of people don't understand what's going on between these times as far as what people are doing. I'm coming home every day and I'm hacking my Wi-Fi every day. Same exact thing every day. I'm coming home. I'm brute forcing passwords every day. And the reason I'm doing all this is because I need to memorize it. I need to understand it. I need to know how it works. I need to know everything about it. So if one day it fails, I can go, oh, I know why, right? So I'm just nonstop studying during this time, while also working and everything else. But I was addicted. I was honestly addicted. It's an obsession. I would come home and I'd write a script every night. I don't care if the script said was a Hello World script, excuse me, or if the script, opened Internet Explorer for you, whatever. I would write a script. That was my goal. I have to write a script every night. Doesn't matter what it is. Or build on the script that I was writing, something, right? So then from there, I I took the 1 Bravo position, right? So I'm getting ready to transfer there, but I have to move bases. So this isn't a huge deal for me, but it's not what I wanted to do. I don't want to move down to St. Louis. I'm not a city person. Didn't want to do it, but I thought this is what's best for my career. So anyway, so at this time I have a secret clearance in the military, and I randomly apply for a system administrator job that I see on my base. Okay, didn't think much of it. Thought someone that works there at that unit already is probably gonna get it. Whatever. Well, I go and apply, and I crushed the interview. I just crushed it mainly because I didn't have any pressure because I thought I don't really care. Because I just accepted this other position, so I don't care. So anyway, I get it. I'm like, oh shit, awesome. They offered to me. I said, well, let me weigh my options. So I have the 1 Bravo position, which is a defensive hacker position, or I have system administrator, right? So technically, as a 1 Bravo or a defensive hacker, I'm going to get a little bit more experience, right? But I know I'm going to be happier at the sysad job because it's not defensive, number one. And number two, I'm going to get a lot of hands-on experience with the machines, with servers, with back-end users, with hosts, with password policies, security policies, enforcement policies, all these things. I'm going to get experience with it. And I said, that's the job I want because I need to know what people are doing on the systems to understand how to break into them, okay? So that's the first thing I thought of. And then on top of that, I asked them, I said, what is your cybersecurity posture? What does it look like, you know? And at the time, they said, we don't really have, that's not a role in our, they had cybersecurity, but they don't control it. They had a third party. So I said, well, let me start working on it. And that's what they agreed to it. So when I went in this interview, I kind of had my own demands, my own conditions, and made it happen. And then from there, I got a requirement of the job was Security Plus, so I got Security Plus. I went and studied for 2 weeks. It was easy, knocked it out, whatever. Okay, so at the time, I had my CEH, I had my CVA, which is Certified Vulnerability Assessor, my Sec Plus now, and then basically there's system administrators and there's network administrators. And I said I made it very far as a system administrator as far as experience and knowledge. And I said, I understand how to be a system administrator. I understand how to break these systems. I get it. This is where I'm at with the system administrator, right? Like, I know it. There's always stuff to learn because things change, but as far as the initial, what I wanted to get from it. So I said, okay. So then I put in for the network administrator job, which is the exact same system, but I'm doing the networks. And a lot of people ask me why. They said, why do you want to do the networks? Because system administrator is a little bit more interesting. And I said, because that's the one part of my IT where I'm not well-rounded. My networking is not perfect. I'm not very good at it. And because it is difficult. So at this point, I have years of experience, okay? I have certifications to balance it out. So now I'm looking at, okay, I've got system administration, I've got certifications, I've got experience. Now job offers are starting to come in, okay? So I'm starting to get offers for a bunch of things. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm volunteering to teach cybersecurity to high school and junior high kids. I'm teaching on Twitch. I'm doing a lot of stuff to not only continue my education, but it also makes me understand things, right? So if I know how to do something, I should be able to teach it. That's my philosophy. If you can't teach something to the old saying is that to a third grader, you don't know it well enough. Obviously, hacking is a little bit more complex, so I don't expect you to teach it to a third grader, but you get what I'm saying. So at this time, I'm feeling very confident in my hacking. The one place I know I need work is networks. So I take the networking job. So now I'm looking at CCNA, getting networks experience, things like that. I start replacing firewalls. I start putting in requests, rules, doing my networking, making VLANs, all this stuff, and I start understanding networking. So now I've got the system side, I've got the networking side, I've got the hacking side, and I'm becoming well-rounded as a cyber professional. Okay, and this is what it takes. You can't just focus on one thing. You can't just be niche. Okay, you can in some aspects, but if you want to be marketable, you need to have a skill. Okay, so then what's the next step is what a lot of people have asked, right? So next step for me was OSCP and CISP. So CISP changes this year, so I went and knocked that out first thing. That's the first thing. So now CISP. So next is OSCP for me. But the main thing is that you have to continue to progress. So you see that my path was all over the place. I didn't go from high school straight to hacking, okay? That is just a little bit, not much detail, but a little bit of how I got to where I am. I did not take the easy path. I will put in there the recommendations that I recommend for people. On top of that, so currently I'm going to start looking at the OSCP, and then I'd like to get my master's as well. But this is all stuff that I've had to do while working other jobs because of the fact that I didn't do it right out of high school. I didn't go to a vocational school. I didn't know this stuff beforehand. So if you're in high school, junior high, whatever, and you're looking to do this stuff, you need to start now. If you start when you're 25, you're already 10 years behind. So you have to work 10 years harder than everybody else, okay? If you start when you're 30, you're 15 years behind, okay? So you need to do basically the big thing with cybersecurity is if you want to do it, do it. If you want to try it, try it. If you just say you want to do it but never pick up that book, you're never going to be able to make it. If you say you're going to do it but never, log into a site like Hack the Box, Try Hack Me, any of those, then you're never going to make it. I'm sorry, but you're not. So that's how I got here, guys. I want to be transparent with you guys in the sense that the way I made it isn't the way that everybody should do it. The way you do it shouldn't be the way the person next to you does it. It's each and everybody's individual differences that make cybersecurity possible because you might have a different perspective on things because you came from a different background. So when you do that, you might see something that someone else doesn't see, and now all of a sudden you know a vulnerability that no one else knows. Think about that. You can actually find a vulnerability with no experience that no one else in the world has ever found simply because you have a different perspective. So that I want to leave you guys with that. That's a little bit about me, where I came from, how my experience got here. I try to leave the video as short as possible. Obviously, it ran a little long, but if you guys do have questions or want to know more information, please comment below, let me know, and we'll go ahead and either talk about it in a video, I'll private message you, whatever. We'll make sure that you get more information. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys want to hear more, again, I will post another video of the recommendations that I recommend to lead you to the path fastest, efficiently, things like that. So, thanks guys.